Oh my goodness, I'm so glad. It's so much. Pardon my notes, but this is how I stay focused on what I want to tell you. When I was very young, I heard somebody told me that, God will not give you more than you can bear. And then, so all along growing up, I believed God will never give me more than I can bear. Then last week, I heard on the radio, that's not true. He does give you more than you can bear. And the reason is, he wants us to know that we need to lean on one another, lean on our church, lean on our community, and lean on him. And to remind us that we cannot navigate this life without him.
That's right.
And when I was first told that surgery would benefit me, I was like, okay, let's get her done. I've had surgery before. No biggie, I'll sleep through it. And hard part comes in recovery, and I can do that. And so then I go and I talk to the surgeon. And she asked me, she goes, are you here by yourself? I'm like, yes. Where's your husband? So he's working. Doesn't he know you're here talking about your surgery for your heart? I'm like, yeah. And then I got to thinking, whoa, this is more serious than I really thought. And then she goes on and she explains to me about everything that would happen during surgery. And they tell you about all the things that can happen when you go under, when they put you under. And I understand they have to tell you all that. But then she says, I'm not going to lie to you. And the part that scared me to death was that she told me that I'm going to wake up in recovery with a breathing tube down my throat, and I'd be strapped to the bed, my hands tied down. I'm like, what? I'm claustrophobic. You can't do that to me. I was just so, I don't want to panic. I don't mind being scared. I don't want to panic. That is the most terrifying thing. And then on my way home, I had an hour and a half drive home by myself, crying and talking to God, and I was just all alone and crying. I was terrified. And how could I talk about this in depth to anybody? Because I'm a Christian. Faith over fear, right? I'm still human. And I was really, really scared. So I got closer to the surgery. It got to where I couldn't even talk about it without crying. And I heard that my uncle woke up after his surgery and he did panic. Trey's dad woke up after his surgery, don't even remember it. So it could go both ways. How much would God allow me to endure before, Then I read the books that they gave me. All that did was, they didn't lie to me either. They confirmed my worries and fears. And when I went in for the test the week before the surgery, one of the nurses asked me, do you have any concerns? I was like, yeah. I don't want to wake up panicked after the surgery with that tube down my throat. And she goes, I'm not going to lie to you. People have panicked. I'm like, great. So that last week leading up to surgery, I cried every day. Trey was at work, so I had time alone to think about it. I finally turned to the Bible and looked up verses on fear. The first one, and probably the most common one, he mentioned earlier, fear not. That God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind. God, that doesn't relate to my situation. So I was frustrated, I rolled my eyes at God. And he says, keep reading. So then I come across be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. So I held on to that. And then it got down to those last 2 days. I'm still crying. I'm still terrified. And all I could do every time I started to cry was, fear not, for I am with you. Fear not, for I am with thee, says the Lord. And that would stop my tears for a few minutes. So I was thinking of that. And I also pray for peace that passes understanding. And I don't really know what that means. I just know that I've heard people pray for that before. So that's what I prayed for. And I didn't really fully understand it until the next morning when Trey's taking me to the hospital. I actually got in the truck with him. instead of running. I had some sort of peace, even though I was terrified, I still had enough peace about me. I didn't cry all the way to the hospital. I didn't go kicking and screaming. But I was definitely still afraid. Then they rolled me into operating room number 1. I was like, ooh, I'm number 1. I literally thought that. I had to think of something to keep the fear away, you know? And then, so this operating room is gigantic, and it's got lots of equipment, big equipment, and there was a bunch of people in there. That was my surgical team, and they introduced me to them. That I'm still, you know, still shaking, and I was nervous. And you know, they got me on the operating table, and they started hooking me up to everything, and tears started rolling back to my ears because I'm laying down, so they go this way, you know. And it's not that I was afraid of the surgery because I'm gonna sleep through it. I wasn't afraid to die because I knew I'd wake up with Jesus on the other side. I was terrified. I was gonna panic when I woke up with that stupid tube down my throat. And then one of the doctors leaned over me and goes, I gave you some happy juice. Don't you feel it yet? I'm like, no. And then I waited a few minutes and I started feeling it. And next thing I know, they're waking me up with a tube down my throat. And I hear God's voice say, just calm down. I'm right here with you. I'm not going anywhere.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Praise the Lord.
And just let the machine breathe for you. I did. I could feel it. Then I went back to sleep. And then the next thing I remember was Trey waking me up. And I don't know if y'all have ever seen Max Headroom. Do y'all know who Max Headroom was? He was a digital person inside of a computer. And, you know, the screen is black except for the white dots or pixels that outline my face. That's what Trey looked like. And he said,
Cool.
time to wake up, you know. I was aware of the breathing tube. I was trying to swallow. I was aware of the noises. They were asking me questions, and I was answering, shaking my head yes or no because I can't talk. And Trey said, just breathe. As soon as you breathe, they can take that out. So I started taking deep breaths around the breath that the machine was giving me. And they took the tube out. And I mean, I can panic just thinking. The week before, they were going to put me through a COVID test. And I've had a flu test before, and that thing hurt. And I was so afraid of having this COVID test. And then whenever I actually got there and did it, it wasn't as bad as I thought. So I can panic and work myself up before I even get there. Peace that passes understanding.
Hallelujah.
I was peaceful, and God was right there, and He actually spoke to me. And I didn't panic.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Lord.
Hallelujah.
Amen.